Good morning, it's Edna here live with Mindset Monday, and I do realize it's a long weekend, but I thought I might catch a few of you needing some Mindset Monday anyway. So I know we're going into summer holidays, so a lot of people won't be around. I know ourselves, we've got the whole week planned out at the lake. Here's our cottage. Just want to give you a quick little view. Just a tiny, tiny little cottage. The deck is actually bigger than the cottage, but that's how it's supposed to be, right? Very little time on the inside. We went last night to watch the fireworks, and man, that was a lot of fun. Our boat died on us yesterday, so we thought we'd be smart and take out the Sea-Doos. Well, I didn't realize till we were 3/4 of the way there that we don't have any lights on our Sea-Doos. So we get all the way over to Regina Beach, and I'm starting to panic thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be going home when it's dark, and all these boats, because there were a ton of boats out there going to watch the fireworks, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to be capsizing us here, because the waves were starting to get pretty large. So we turned around and came back earlier than we expected to. We did get to see a little bit of fireworks on the way back, but I tell you, by the time we got back, we were soaking wet, so we weren't too happy. We all crawled into bed very, very early last night, cold and wet. Anyway, today I think the temperature here is already at 27 degrees, so we're going to have a really smoking hot day, so we're looking forward to that. Today I wanted to talk about the law of diminishing intent. And basically, I think Jim Rohn was the one that coined that. And he says that basically you have got 24 hours after you've made a decision to really follow through on it. Because every hour that goes past, the intent of you actually completing what it is that you wanted to do diminishes. And basically what that means is we'll come across something, or you'll be taught something, and you know, yep, I'm going to incorporate that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign up, I'm going to whatever. But every moment that you leave past and actually not do a forward motion to move that intent forward diminishes the chance of it happening. So if you get up on January 1st and you decide, hey, I'm going to work out all the time, I'm going to eat right, but there's that really nice breakfast sitting on the table, maybe you're at a hotel or something, and you think, I'm just going to wait till tomorrow, and then each day is another delay, and your intentions get dropped. Now, what happens there, if you promise yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, your psyche goes backwards. It's like, okay, you're just lying to yourself all the time. So the next time that you're thinking about whether you want to do something, take action on it right away, get it done. It takes more effort to think about why you're not doing something than it is just to do it. If you're hanging around out at the cottage, for example, and you decide, hey, I'm going to read this book, I've got a choice. I can read this book that's really interesting and going to help move my business forward, or I can just go have another beer with the neighbors. Well, you know what? It's our choice. It's our weekend. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but every time you make a choice like that, that's what's moving you further away from your goals or towards your goals, whichever way you want to go. So anyway, for those of you that aren't familiar with Jim Rohn, I'm going to actually show you a picture. That's him there. He's deceased now, but been one of my mentors for years. I still remember when I very first met him, was introduced to him, I went, wow, I just need to absorb every single thing this guy says. I bought every one of his programs, and a lot of it was repetitive, but you know what? It was good to hear things over and over again. Anyway, and a lot of motivational people, mindset people out there, have learned from Jim Rohn and taken their own spin on it, of course, and resent it back out into the groups. A lot of people, Tony Robbins, many others are influenced by Jim Rohn. So anyway, he says with the law of diminishing intent, the longer we put off taking action, we lose all the emotional energy that would be used to fuel that action. Does that make sense? It totally does, doesn't it? If we just keep putting things off, our intention just gets slower and slower. One of the main causes of the law of diminishing intent is we think we have to become experts in anything new that we're doing before we can take a step and try something new. This stops many people in their tracks from reaching their next goal or desired level of outcome. I notice that in the real estate world all the time. People think, well, you know, I've taken part of the course. Okay, I haven't built my power team. I listened to the course, but I haven't reached out and met that realtor, mortgage broker. I've read the Find the Money worksheet, but I haven't actually done the work on the Find the Money worksheet. And then they wonder why their business isn't moving forward. So the way I've set up the course is that each and every time you listen to the module, there's homework immediately after. There's a reason for that. That's your action step. And if you're constantly putting off your action steps, you're not getting anywhere. A lot of people learn. Don't take any action. Where does that get you? Gets you absolutely nowhere. You learn that you've got to go out and network in order to find possible investors, but you don't do it. Are you a little bit smarter? Well, you know what to do, but if you're not actually doing it, you're not getting anywhere. Does that make sense? Okay, what else do I got on here? And you know what? It is human nature to think that we have to know everything before we can move forward. But it's not true. Even your investors, you know, lots of times I'll reach out to investors and I'll say, you know, hey, I got this deal coming up. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to pan out, but is this something you'd be interested in? And I give them high level. And what I do is I try to make it interesting without getting into the details. And people will tell me lots of times, you know what, no, not right now, Edna, because blah, blah, blah. I've got my money tied up. I'm leaving on holidays tomorrow. I just bought a new car. I'm selling my home, whatever. And then at least I know. And I know not to count on that person, even though I know that they have money. So then it opens you up to going on to your next action step. But if you don't take the first action step, you won't even have any idea who might be interested. So reach out to a potential investor. Just see if there's any interest at all. Now know that just because they're saying no to you this time or not yet doesn't necessarily mean no, never. So what I do generally after that is when I have it all written up in my executive summary, I will email it out to them again and I'll say, you know, I know you said you weren't really in a position to take advantage of this right now, but do you know somebody who might be? You know, just a quick little something, send it out. You're sending it out anyway, add them to the email list. And you know what, sometimes after they read it through, they go, hey, you know what, Edna's right. This is exactly what I was looking for. Maybe I should spend a few minutes just reading through it and just making sure that, maybe it's just something I can do quickly. Maybe their deadline's a little further out than I actually thought it was. Hey, good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Dave. How are you? And I know, Savannah, you're in the U.S., so you don't have the big holiday today. But Dave, you do. What do you got planned for the holiday today? Not much yet? Okay, well, I got a question here for you. So if there are 3 birds sitting on a wire and one decides to fly away, how many birds are left? Can you guys answer that for me? So 3 birds on the wire, one decides to fly away, how many birds are left? Dave's doing his homework. Oh, good for you. I did see you got module 2 into me. I didn't get a chance to read it yet. Like I said, we've been out on the lake, and we're planning on going out just after lunch here today too. It's going to be a really, really good day. So no one wants to take a chance on that answer? Well, you know what? The answer is there's still 3 birds left, because even though they decided, that doesn't necessarily mean they took action. Oh, Dave said 2 birds. So you get that? Just because they decided doesn't mean they took action. So there's actually still 3 birds sitting there. But thanks for participating. I appreciate that. What else do we got here? You know what? Tony Robbins says, you should never leave the site of a decision without taking action. That might be when you get to that homework and it says, write out your elevator pitch. What is it? How are you going to introduce yourself at the next networking meeting? Well, you may not have it down perfect, but write it down anyway. It's like 2-3 minutes. Or if you're not sure what people mean by an elevator pitch, go Google it and listen to a few different ones that might resonate with you. Your decisions basically have a 24-hour shelf life again. So if you don't do something, you're not going to get anywhere. So my elevator pitch, and it changes all the time, is I have a system that teaches people how to create passive income through real estate. Do you see that? So you can make some variation of the same thing depending on what you're trying to do. But you want to create curiosity, getting people to listen to you. So that's all part of your homework. But just when you're going through that homework, do it. Don't just read it. And I know I'm plenty guilty of that myself. Sometimes I think, oh, I'll get back to that later. And I realize how many stuff I've left on the table without ever actually doing anything on it. So remember, decision making is easy. It's the follow through that requires great habits and perseverance. Lots of people can make good decisions. They're quick decision makers, but they're not always the ones that move forward. So Tony has some tips on successful decision making I want to share with you. So by following 4 simple rules for making decisions, you can set yourself up to win by discovering the clarity, purpose, and decisiveness you need to make. You need to make your next important decision. Sorry, I'm trying to read this at the same time. All important or difficult decisions must be made on paper. This is a good one, you guys. If you try to make an important decision just in your head, you're going to start doing what I call looping. And here's what that means. When you first arrive at a decision, you'll think, that's a good idea, but what if this happens? You'll come up with an alternative scenario, then you'll think, but what if this happens? And soon you'll find yourself back at the first option without any kind of resolution. All this does is add stress and pressure, so get rid of this pressure by making decisions on paper. Be clear about what you really want and why you want it. You've got to get absolutely crystal clear about your outcome and your purpose. If you forget the reasons behind your decision, you won't follow through. You also need a way to measure your success. Sometimes you're actually winning. How many of us do this? But feel like you're losing because you're not tracking what you're actually getting done. In my mastermind, I do something like, it's called positive focus. And when we very first get together, I get people to review on paper what they accomplished over the last 90 days. And every single time I get back from people, you know what, I didn't realize I accomplished so much, because it's human nature to focus on what we didn't accomplish, right? But if we're always focusing on what we didn't accomplish, we never feel good about what we do. So sometimes it just feels like you're spinning your wheels. So remember that decisions are based on probability. Don't wait for absolute certainty, because you'll almost never get it. You have to give it to yourself. One of the ways to do this is to have a consistent process for making decisions. This will give you some of the certainty you need to take action in the midst of the great uncertainty that almost always accompanies decisions. Recognize, and I am reading this is from Tony Robbins, because he's also one of my mentors that I've been following for years and years. Recognize that decision making is value clarification. Many times it's hard to make a decision because you don't have just one outcome. Oftentimes there are many possibilities. You're going to have to ask yourself, of all these things that I want, what is really number one for me? And again, that's everybody's decision is different when it comes to that. Then think, what's number two, what's number three? You may not get them all, but you may get at least the top three, which is so cool. If you're clear on your priorities, it'll be much easier for you to design the best outcome. Therefore, the next time you're confronted with a decision, big or small, apply these 4 rules to your decision-making process. The clarity that these rules provide will help you take decisive action in the direction that serves your ultimate outcomes. So I hope that creative value for you today. I know when it comes to decisions and we make that decision quickly in our brain, it's still nice to sit there and write it down. And what I do is I keep a book on my desk so that I can go back and remember why I made that decision. Because sometimes you often forget too. Now, why am I taking this course? What's the reason I decided to take this course? What's the reason I decided to, one of the courses that I'm taking right now is building your Facebook groups. And so far, I think I signed up for it about mid last week, and I haven't looked at it yet. Lots of holidays and stuff like that, right? But I re-admitted to myself that no, there's definitely value of taking this course, and I'm going to get at it definitely this week, even though I'm on holidays. It's sometimes when you're sitting around on the deck working on your suntan, it gives you a chance to listen to some of this or even read it. So does anyone have any questions for me today? I'm going to make this short. I do have a call right after this. Dave or Savannah, anybody on here have a question for me today? No questions. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off. Like I said, today's just meant to be a short one. I wanted to touch base and work a little bit on mindset today. But go out and enjoy the beautiful, beautiful day that's happening. And Dave, I can't wait to see your next round of homework. And Savannah, I'll be talking to you soon. Bye for now.